Everyone tells watercolor beginners to mix their greens with yellow and blue, but did you know there are entire categories of greens that simply cannot be mixed that way? And once you know about them, you'll never look at your palette the same way. So I painted this tropical composition specifically to show you two of these watercolor green categories in action. And the first are vivid tropical greens. You can see them here on the parrot, that bold electric color that practically jumps off the page. If you love a more vibrant, saturated style, I'm going to show you exactly how to get there. And the second is super granulating greens, these gorgeous textured pigments you see on the palm leaves. They're favorite among landscape artists, and if you love that moody, abstract, almost organic look with lots of heavy texture, I'll walk you through the colors and techniques that make it happen. We're going to go step by step through both the parrot and the leaves, and as always, if you want to paint the full composition in real time with narration, the outlines and step-by-step photos, this will be on my Patreon next week. The link is in the description. Thank you so much to my patrons for making these tutorials possible. Let's start with these super vivid, juicy greens. I'll show you what they are, why yellow and blue simply can't get you there, and why at least one of these belongs on every serious watercolor palette. I'm painting the yellow wing feathers first because we always want to start with the lightest color group. Then I'll wet the paper with clean water and start dropping on my favorite vivid greens. These all come from the same family of pigments. It's called phthalo. I'm using phthalo green, yellow and blue shade, and phthalo turquoise. Depending on your brand, you might see them sold under names like emerald green or Windsor green, but don't let the names confuse you. The easiest way to identify them, regardless of the brand you're using, is by checking the pigment code on your tube. I've listed my favorites on the screen and in the video description below. In general, I highly recommend learning about pigment codes so you can easily identify your colors across brands. But back to the greens. What makes phthalo greens so special is their range. They span the entire spectrum from warm, yellow-leaning greens all the way to cool, blue, sea-like hues. And they all share the same key characteristic, extremely high chroma. So chroma just means color intensity, or how pure and saturated the green hue is. And as you can see, phthalo greens have it in abundance. That electric, almost glowing quality, you simply cannot mix your way there using yellow and blue. Beyond the vibrancy, phthalo greens, just like phthalo blues, are mostly non-granulating. It means completely smooth, no texture, so they can layer beautifully, letting you build real depth over multiple passes. Phthalos are sometimes called modern greens for a good reason. They were developed in the mid-20th century, so relatively new in watercolor terms. Originally, they were created for the automotive industry. Think of really colorful sports cars, and then later adapted into watercolor, acrylic, and oils. So here on this layer, I worked with phthalo green blue shade at first, then I've added phthalo green yellow shade on top where there's a little bit more sunlight, and then finally I've added darker, moodier phthalo turquoise to show you the full range. You don't need all three of these greens, but having even one of these on your palette will transform how you paint vibrant subjects like birds, exotic flowers, even tropical seascapes, anything with that bold, saturated energy. And I'm finishing this wet on wet layer with a few splashes of indigo to mark up the shadows, and then I'll use that same indigo to paint the dark feathers and the eye. And at this point, you might be saying, but Anna, I can try and mix these using yellow and blue, but it's actually impossible. So without getting too deep into physics, allow me to quickly explain why. And once you understand it, everything will click. So when we mix our watercolor paints, we're working with so-called subtractive color mixing. In other words, every pigment you add to your mix is absorbing more light. When you're mixing your greens, yellows are eating up the blue wavelength of light, and blue is eating up the red and orange. And the only light that makes it back to your eye is whatever tiny overlap is left in the middle. In other words, every mix loses a little bit more light, a little more vibrancy, because you're not building color, you're actually subtracting it. And the result is a green that is always going to be a little bit more dull, a little murkier than what either yellow or blue paint could do on their own. But phthalo green is a single pigment. Nothing is competing, nothing is canceling anything out. It reflects green light with almost no loss whatsoever. And that's why it looks electric. And here's the other thing. When you mix two pigments in your palette, you're not actually blending them at a molecular level. You're creating thousands of tiny yellow particles and thousands of tiny blue particles sitting side by side in the water. Our eyes average them out together from a distance and read them as green. But up close, in a bloom or in the glaze, that mixture will always behave less vibrantly, less consistently than a single clean pigment straight from the tube. Think of it this way. Mixing yellow and blue to get phthalo green is like trying to recreate a green neon sign using regular light bulbs. You can get close, but that electric green glow quality, it's not available through mixing. That's why I keep at least one phthalo green on my palette always, not because I'm lazy, but because the color simply doesn't exist anywhere else. And if you're already using phthalos, leave your recommendations in the comments below. Once everything is dry, let's come back and add feather definition using the same greens. And here's another reason why I reach for phthalo greens instead of mixing greens on my own. And it's one most people don't think about because these pigments are highly staining. They bond deeply with the paper fibers and are very difficult to lift. And in practice, that's incredibly freeing. I'm not worried at all about disturbing my first layer. I can add as much color as I want and even use a clean water-loaded brush to blend these strokes as needed without any risk of mudding up what's underneath. I'm using a size 0 Isabey brush here, essentially drawing each feather like a fish scale using negative painting technique. Negative painting just means rather than painting the feathers themselves, I'm painting the shadows beneath each feather cascade. Just a sliver of dark green and then softening that edge immediately with the tip of my clean damp brush. This way the luminous green layer underneath stays completely intact and I can push all the way to full saturation, loading on as much color as I need, and the vibrancy of my green never suffers. That's another advantage of working with greens straight from the tube instead of mixing. Every stroke is consistent and predictable. The same hue, the same intensity every time. And because I'm using pure pigment, I can go as dark as I want without losing that electric quality. Whereas if I were to mix my greens, there would likely be too much water in the mix and I wouldn't be able to reach this dark value so easily. Now let me show you the second category of greens that we can't mix using yellow and blue. These are called super granulating greens, and they might just be the most exciting thing on my palette. You may already know that many watercolor pigments granulate, meaning they leave a beautiful natural texture on the paper as they dry. Classic examples are ultramarine blue or viridian green, but super granulating colors take that effect to a completely different level. The one I'm using here is called Green Appetite Genuine from Daniel Smith Primatech Collection. With these greens, the pigment particles are so heavy that you can practically see them settling on paper in front of you. Sometimes they're made with actual mineral pigments like this Green Appetite or even ground up semi-precious stones. And sometimes they combine 2 or 3 different watercolor pigments in one tube. So as the paint dries, you can actually see different color particles separating and moving through the water at different speeds, creating these gorgeous natural gradients without any effort on your part. And here's what I love most about super granulating greens. They're incredibly beginner friendly. One single layer gives you a visually rich, complex, organic looking texture that would take hours to build with traditional techniques. So as you can see, no glazing, no advanced skills required, just a quick wash, maybe a few drops of clear water to push the paint around and let the pigment do the work. I especially love using super granulating greens to frame more intricate subjects in my compositions, like birds, flowers, and fruit. So here, after spending a few hours slowly building up shadows and detail on the coconuts, it feels like a joy, almost a relief to simply drop some green apatite onto the palm leaves in a single pass and watch the whole painting feel complete. In addition to green apatite genuine, there's so many wonderful options to explore. I highly recommend super granulating collection from Schminke. They've developed an incredible range from greens to blues and all the way to the most stunning earthy browns. One I've been reaching for lately is their Tundra Violet, which is what I used here on the trunk of the palm tree. If you're already using super granulating colors in your work, let us know in the comments and share your recommendations. We'd love to hear what you're painting with, and I have an entire series of tutorials focused exclusively on super granulating greens, from flowers to birds. So if you want to see just how beginner friendly these pigments really are, check out this video next, featuring a colorful finch bird and beautiful orchids. I think it will surprise you. And join me on Patreon to paint this full tropical composition together from start to finish. As always, thank you so much for watching and painting with me. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next week for more watercolor magic.